Archangel Michael and Count Love radiant light, encouragement, and guidance for these times. We are happy to connect and to chime in here to assist. Thank you for inviting us to do so. First, let go. Let go of any preconceived phrases or ideas. Empty your mind on purpose. Yes, with your permission, we will now flush your mind and awareness with light. A huge part of what you are all going to discover now and next is your immense capacity to love. That will precede the full discovery of your oneness. It will be an expression of it, but it will come first. And one of the things that will help many of you to discover how incredibly loving you are is ironically first and foremost the threats to things you love. For as you experience these threats you discover how much you care. Now we wish to be clear. The things you love are not being threatened by some non-physical force in order to stimulate this awareness, but rather by some human beings who have resisted evolution and are in profound states of disconnection and denial of who they truly are, infinite and eternal, one with all that is, love. So they're threatening things you love so that they can harvest the resources they see as adding to their already significant money or assets or power, or all of that, and in doing so, threatening what you love. Now, some non-dualistic teachers might say you are discovering how attached you are, but we are not seeing it that way. We are seeing how much you love aspects of your life experience, even if that loving was almost second nature at this point in so many ways. That deep satisfaction you had in loving your life in the past included these things that are now being threatened, even though you were not specifically articulating them. And so, as the things that you love are threatened, it is awakening within you and others your awareness of how precious this life is, in certain ways with regards to your nation, or your way of life in America, for example, and the many different elements that make that so. And as this is threatened, it makes clear to you where you stand. You do not want these aspects of your experience to be destroyed. You do not want the expression of your nation to regress or go backwards in terms of human rights and care for the American people and others in the world who American helps. And so you are awakening to the depth of your love of harmony and peace and empathy and care. And even if it's peace as in the absence of war, it still feels better to you than overt conflict and global tension, and you can feel that, and it makes clear to you what you prefer. You are clarifying what matters to you, and becoming more conscious for as you feel what is being threatened, the way of life that was becoming more inclusive and how certain members of society want to take you back into the dark ages. Know this, that will not happen. We can offer that reassurance ultimately. But you may experience a very, very, very bumpy and challenging time, collectively and individually, for a while. And there will be treasured aspects of your experience, and people harmed or lost, in this time, and there will be a need to rebuild and to re-establish even the guardrails that protect your democracy and way of life in the future, and also to put in place more clear ways to ensure that collective communication is clear and accurate and that the spellbound are cared for, and there are many of them. A huge part of what will happen next will include a big part of the American population either awakening from their numbness and feeling incredible shame and pain and disillusionment and anger and outrage as they do, or them deciding they are not willing to unravel the identity they formed during this experience of indoctrination and illusion and glamours, and therefore they will choose to leave the planet or isolate themselves in hatred and fear of being found out. Some of them will attempt to hide. Hiding will not work, for the energy is pushing everything to the surface that needs to be seen and reckoned with in order to feel and know the truth of being, the unity and interconnectedness of all life. And so one can choose to go there freely, or to be gradually pried by the energies themselves into letting go of the separation previously embraced, or to make a leap and pretend to be aligned with it and then gradually open within, in private. And meanwhile feel incredible pressure and instability, insecurity, while one does this. And more, there are many different ways people will, and are choosing to live now. But we do know that oneness is shining through. It is teasing apart the illusions, the glamours, the misunderstandings that one holds that gives them the sense of complete separateness, and that challenge to the ego may also drive those present in this way to try even harder to gain control, and we know this is already occurring. There is no getting around this. The pain body, the entity structure of separation, lack, and limitation, the part of the human psyche that believes it isn't powerful, isn't connected, or believes it can choose only for itself, that it is separate. All of these misunderstandings will be illuminated, and will be unraveled. These ideas are illusions, and for those even who are very aligned with love, one can still sometimes see a misunderstanding present in the teachings that a human being can manifest for themselves regardless of others. That is a misunderstanding. Everything is a co-creation. Everything. And all of that will come to light. There is no way to feel stable and secure while denying the infinite oneness, that is all. There just isn't. Seeing life and separation, believing one can be a lone ranger. That is not sustainable. Anyone choosing to put a stake in the ground with that will experience the tension of trying to hold that structure in place. As one persists in trying to operate in separation, they will feel battered energetically, and will feel an inner and outer sense of instability, because nothing in the world that is real, infinite and eternal, aka truth, is supporting this. Oneness is the true ultimate reality. Interconnectedness is the true reality. Inclusion and love is the way forward. Aligned authentic expression and flow is the way to be. And the way to play. So yes, this year and next year and even the year after this are going to be quite rough for many. Rough for those like you whose hearts are breaking, as they're your country which feels like your world moves strongly and quickly in the seeming backslide direction, and rough too for those denying that they too are part of a collective wholeness. We say seeming backslide direction, because again what is out of sync with interconnectedness must be brought into the light of awareness, and seen for the misunderstanding that it is. How much suffering will need to happen for those choosing to deny their oneness with others? Each person is free to choose and to choose differently in any moment. So only time will tell. This is a world of your collective co-creation. No one here lives separate from others, and pretending they can, and do, is also part of what will be brought to light. There are many people who firmly believe they are free to choose only for themselves, and they believe that their choices have no meaning or impact on others, or the greater whole. This is a grave misunderstanding. And many people will be shocked, as their beliefs about this are unraveled. So they too will need love and support, and kindness and compassion, as they come into clarity about who they truly are. And so, the most important thing to practice, to do daily is follow your heart, and remember what you have realized. Your heart is the most important aspect of this experience, and, as you are heart-centered and open, you will discover that you are lovingly guided from within. You will know what's true for you, what matters to you, what you need, what you can do, what you need do, what you might do next. You will have clarity. As you stay connected to your heart, and feel, and choose not to shut down, or numb out, which is not the same as taking breaks, or ensuring balance, so you thrive, those things are empowering. Then you will see clearly. And yes, we suspect you will find a view challenging at times, but your heart, and your capacity to love, increasingly unconditionally, will grow. Yes, some of what you see will initially be very challenging. But you will also understand more explicitly what you want, what matters to you, and from that you will together create, energetically, and in the ways you live. As you allow yourself to witness this, and stay in your heart, willing to feel love, willing to be a presence of love, you are making room for the underlying truth of this reality, truth with a capital T, the eternal truth of love, of oneness, of wholeness, of all that is to be realized. You'll also be making room to see clearly, and therefore be able to navigate well, and for yourself and others who you love and care about, you'll know how to participate, what moves to make. And so Ailia and friends, that is our guidance, and what we suggest. Stay open, be heart-centered, and do what you love. Sleep well. Eat well. Having fun when you can. Enjoy beauty and nature and the oneness, that is, and love, and your own innate connections, like this. Enjoy everything you can enjoy, and don't look away from the shocking truth of how much insatiable greed is revealing itself to you now. How many have chosen the false gods, and how unsatisfying those choices are compared to connection, and kindness and cooperation, and the profound satisfaction of building something beautiful together, for all. By seeing all of this you empower it to be transformed. We cannot emphasize this enough. There is something profound happening through your presence, which is empowering evolution and transformation. By not looking away, and continually returning to your heart. By choosing to love what you love, and advocate for it, you hold higher ideals and visions aligned with the infinite all that is. You know, as you look at this drama, how insane it is. You may not know exactly how it came to be, but you recognize misunderstanding and inner emptiness when you see it. Your clarity is beneficial collectively and energetically. Discernment and seeing clearly is part of how life becomes illuminated. It's part of how consciousness evolves, and it's part of how the evolution of your world is happening. Clarity arises as knowing. Knowing is possible when in a state of coherence. When you are in order, in alignment with all that is, you can be clear, have clarity. It comes to you. Let yourself see clearly, flow with inspired action and trust others to find their way. In fact, imagine yourself and everyone else finding their way and remembering who they truly are. And play your part in that collective evolution too, by imagining that all will find their way, and that when they do, each will feel fulfilled, will arise in joy and glory, and know the fullness of their being here, too. This is what's happening, the Great Awakening. The shift, and we've said it many, many times before, and we'll remind you of it again here, and now. All life is evolving into higher expression, as it can. Remember this, and be not afraid. Remember this, and be at peace. Or, just remember this, and be who you truly are. Meaning, find your center, make that a priority to be connected, and clear and true. And to do the things each day that help you sustain that state of presence. We can quite confidently say that you will likely need to return there repeatedly, and don't be put off by that. There is tremendous change and expansion occurring now, tremendous upheaval, and that will necessitate that you repeatedly reorient, readjust, integrate, and evolve. This is a time of revelation. And remember too, the light and clarity of inner knowing and connection, of openness, it is powerful and influential in a way that disconnection, illusion, and separation are not. There is a clearing, a glade of peace, and well-being available always, your refuge on the inside. Go there often, and rest, renew, reconnect, and rejoice. You can do this by simply pausing and taking a deep breath. Know too, that you are also supported and dearly loved. Stay the course. We are with you always. I am Archangel Michael with Ailia, Asherah, the Galactic Dragons, and the Council of Radiant Light. Humans are amazing beings. With all the constant news about the violence, hatred, and division occurring in the world these days, it's easy to fall into focusing on the dark side of humanity. We can get to thinking that a lot of people out there are doing horrendous things and humanity is finally creating its own extinction. Even within spiritual communities, there often seems to be a focus on what is wrong with humanity and how we as individuals need to constantly improve ourselves and strive to be more spiritual in one way or another. There's a belief that we are inherently flawed beings who need to be fixed, healed, and perfected so that we can become enlightened or ascend to the fifth dimension. And that we need to resolve the karma we created because we did terrible things in former lifetimes. And yes, of course, some humans do really do awful things. Since the beginning of time, people have done horrendously violent things to each other. However, it's important to remember, first of all, that it really is a small minority of people in the world who do these horrific things. Most ordinary people don't. And have we ever really questioned why these people do the terrible things they do? Are they all really inherently evil? And yes, it is important to see where we can all become more awake and aware about ourselves and change what feels important to change. We do need to heal all the traumas we've experienced. But is this constant focus on self-improvement and a belief that we are inherently defective based on what's actually true? Maybe we can ask the question, are we still somehow caught in the old religious belief about humanity being born in sin? In general, why is there such a focus on the flaws in humanity? And why is there a sense of inherent shame, either conscious or unconscious, about who we are? Is humanity a race that really is so flawed? Humanity's evolution has been greatly hindered. Think about it, considering all we humans have been subjected to. It's actually kind of amazing that so many of us are as sane, kind, compassionate, and loving as we are. It's important to remember all that we have been subjected to. We have been poisoned for many, many years now. Our food, our water, our air, our soil, and even our medicines are all saturated with substances that are unhealthy, if not downright poisonous, to our bodies. We have been controlled and lied to by corrupt government authorities, the media, and three-letter agencies about any number of things, most recently about a lab-created virus, and even more deadly vaccines designed to harm and kill us. We have been manipulated by wealthy elites who own and operate the global financial system. Much of humanity lives in poverty, goes hungry every day, and grows up in broken homes with a lack of love and true nurturing. It's no surprise that children grow up to be criminals. And if we go far back in history enough and down the rabbit hole enough, we come to the beginning of humanity's fall, when hostile races came onto the earth and, among many other nefarious things, they were able to create a quarantine around the earth. This cut humanity off from highly evolved, benevolent galactic beings who had been visiting Earth, and also prevented humanity from being able to leave. In doing this, what's been called a false matrix was created, a synthetic reality we've been trapped in. They also created a controlled karmic wheel that has kept humanity incarnating over and over again, suffering endlessly. With powerful ancient AI technology, they were able to insert implants within humanity's DNA to create weakness, fear, guilt, shame, and self-doubt, and to weaken people's connection to Source. They infiltrated all religions, and even the New Age spiritual teachings, with lies about humanity and reality, insinuating in multiple ways that humanity is inherently weak and imperfect, and therefore needs to constantly heal and self-improve. They created powerful hybrid human families, the black nobility, or the shadow controllers, inserting much of their own DNA into them. Because of the preponderance of this non-human DNA, these people do not have the innate compassion that humans naturally have, nor the connection to the source that created humanity. Furthermore, they have been taught that they are the ones who own the earth, and that the rest of humanity is essentially to be managed and controlled. Over time, they have achieved control of our governments and many other important institutions throughout the world. These people compose just a small percentage of people on the planet, and yet, because of their advanced technology, they've been able to control humanity for thousands of years. And they know well how to create division and fear through continuous wars and increasing poverty and illness among us. Fortunately, these beings will eventually be forced to leave the planet in one way or another, because they will not be able to ascend into the fifth dimension when the Earth makes this shift. But this will take some time yet, and until then, they will continue to wreak havoc and create fear in all ways possible, including continuing to create wars, poverty, and illnesses. Humanity continues on, despite everything. So, given all this, is it surprising that certain traumatized humans become criminals and steal and traffic drugs and murder people? And that others choose to go to war? Or that hatred streams back and forth between certain groups? And isn't it amazing that most of humanity has managed to not do any of that? Not only have we survived, we have in many ways continued to evolve and thrive. Despite all the hindrances and out efforts to keep us in fear and weakness, we still know how to love and laugh, and dance, and sing, and play music, create art, and celebrate each other. Isn't it amazing that so many of us can still act compassionately, with understanding and appreciation for others? Despite all the restraints and hindrances now being placed on us, despite the dearth of true free speech on the planet, and despite how hard it is becoming to just stay afloat financially, we keep going, and continue to wake up to who we are. Isn't this something to celebrate? Don't all these things demonstrate just how brilliant a race humanity is, how steadfast, how powerful, how courageous we are? We are pure love/light. When we really tune in, we can see that what we are, in essence, is pure love, divine light. So, in a way, it's not surprising that, despite all the hindrances, we are still forging ahead in our evolutionary process into higher consciousness. But maybe it's time to stop and really appreciate this about ourselves as a race, and to focus on these achievements, rather than what seems to be wrong with humanity. Maybe it's time to step out of any judgment we hold, and truly find compassion in our hearts for every human being, understanding why some people may do the things they do that are harsh, selfish and violent. Maybe it's time to truly celebrate us as a beautiful and wondrous race of beings that is finally in the process of waking up to our divine essence. And that we may finally soon be able to join our extraterrestrial brothers and sisters in galactic federations, life tapestry creations, your transition pace. Dear Owns, do you need reassurance that you are transitioning beyond pain and fear? Do not fret. You will soon reach a point where 3D fear actions hold little interest, because you will be enmeshed in the love of the new world you created. The question then becomes, what happens if those you love don't achieve the new world maturity you are beginning to find so comfortable? There is little you can do other than live your life, and expect others to find their way, if and when they are ready. Just as you could not force your friends into puberty, it happened when it happened. The great divide we of the universe is highlighted several weeks ago is becoming increasingly apparent. As a result, there is less to discuss or question with those firmly ensconced in 3D. You will find yourself ignoring the latest news about this terrible event or statement, because you will be elsewhere mentally and, most likely, physically. It is not that you will be flying through the atmosphere, but that the latest traumas will not impact your physical being, as has been happening for some time. You are letting go not entirely, or immediately, but hour by hour and day by day so that you can express your new emotions in different ways and places. You are a new being in a new world, a world that does not reward pain, but instead promotes joy and love. Just as in 3D puberty, this evolution will be gradual or slow for some and rapid for others. All who wish to be part of this new world will find their place when it is time. Many of you question that last statement, for you cannot understand why there might be a time lag in accessing love and peace any more than you understood why you did not develop as rapidly as others during puberty. You are not being punished, you are merely evolving at the correct rate for your physical body, and according to the cohort plans you developed before accepting your role in this remarkable transition. This transition was never designed to be everyone all at once. Instead, various factors played into the time sequence, not the least of which was the strength of your physical being, or your role in this transition. Some of you are waiting to encourage others to transition at a similar time. Others decided to be in the first wave. Still, others made decisions for reasons that have little to do with the overall transition. Just know that you are in the right place at the right time. And that, as is happening to many, you are becoming less and less interested in 3D trauma. For many of you, 3D trauma is already over. The remainder will soon discover something similar. This week, you will be moving into the fun stage with thoughts of, this is fun. Why don't others want to have fun instead of ruminating about the terrible things that might affect them someday? The 3D fear world is over for you, maybe not today, but most certainly within days. You are ready to evolve into joy and peace. Allow that to be. Then, accept that you are shifting as rapidly as is appropriate. And the same is true for all who wish to remove themselves from 3D pain and fear. So be it. Amen. Holistic living. My dear friends, For the largest portion of the Earth's inhabitants, the word abundance, as most people now use it, has little meaning. More meaningful to them is the word survival. Yet, no human being should have to worry about day-to-day survival. That should be guaranteed, as should the basic human dignity of sufficient food, clothing, and shelter. Why we, as humans, do not share more freely of all that we have. A tiny percentage of the world's people holds a massive percentage of the world's wealth and resources, is no mystery. It is not because we are bad or selfish people. It is because most of us believe in lack. That is, we believe even those of us with a great deal, perhaps, especially those with a great deal, believe that, if we are not watchful, there may not be enough to go around. This leads to a not unimportant question. When is enough enough? For people whose chief reward in life, whose highest satisfaction and grandest experience is derived from their quality of being, whatever they now have is enough. That is the lesson that some spiritual masters who give up everything, living lives of renunciation, are seeking to teach. They do not seek to demonstrate that renunciation is necessary to achieve true happiness. They seek to show that material possessions are not necessary. What I have learned about life is that when we live wholly, we live wholly. I have been searching for ways to live my life as a whole person, as an integrated being, for 25 years. Holistic living means being aware that I am part of a whole system, a whole idea, a whole reality, and that everything I think, say, and do affects that reality, indeed, at some level, creates it. I can no longer pretend that one thing has nothing to do with another. That smoking, for instance, or consuming red meat at every meal, has nothing to do with my health. That the quality of the air around me, for example, has nothing to do with the quality of my life. That how I think, and speak, and act has nothing to do with how I experience my future. That the way in which I interact with my environment has nothing to do with how long I will be allowed, and able, to do so. That is how I lived before I understood what holistic meant. I did not understand what sociologists call whole systems theory. I did not comprehend the implications of the fact that I was a cog in a very big wheel. In this, I dare say that I was not unlike many people, perhaps most people. Even today, the increase in our general level of awareness notwithstanding, there appears to be a huge disconnect for many people between in-the-moment choices, decisions, and actions, and down-the-road effects. Yet living holistically is about taking into account all of our down-the-road effects. It is about becoming one with our God, with our environment, with our fellow travelers, on this extraordinary journey, and with our very selves. So many of us are not integrated. That is, we are disintegrated. Falling apart. Falling to pieces. And so is the world in which we are living our disintegrated lives. Yet now, at last, many of us are at least becoming aware of our condition. And many of us are opting out, choosing again, and recreating ourselves anew in the next grandest version of the greatest vision ever we held about who we are. There are many resources now available to help us with these challenges as we undertake the process of rebuilding our collective reality in the 21st century. Those who wish to explore new relationship paradigms more deeply may find of particular interest 2 books that I experience to be both helpful and exciting. They are The Future of Love by Daphne Roskigma and Enchanted Love, The Mystical Powers of Intimate Relationships by Marianne Williamson. Both speak eloquently of the possibilities of relationship, the wonder of open-hearted love, and the glory of embracing spirit to spirit, as well as body to body. Marianne's latest work is especially breathtaking, its sweep at times approaching poetry. Of course, improved relationships with others depends upon an improved relationship with ourselves. We are invited now to come from a new state of being, a new clarity about who we are, and who we choose to be, and a new determination to demonstrate that in the world. When a high state of beingness is turned into doingness in the physical world, struggle disappears from our lives. We have integrated our inner and outer selves, and not only do we have better romantic relationships, we have better everything. Wounded Bee. Source: arrayofflight.com. The other videos are in the English video playlist. Help me spread the light, click like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.